Hello, everybody. Sorry for the delay. Welcome to Makeover Monday, week 31. Watch me viz. If somebody could please acknowledge in the comments that you can hear me, that would be fantastic. And in the meantime, I'll go ahead and get started. So this week we're looking at bicycle accidents in London. The reason I chose this data set is because I've had 3 bicycle accidents in London. And actually, this shouldn't say bicycle accidents, it should say bicycle collisions. The people that created the data set suggest that we use the words collisions instead. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, let's look at the original visualization. I'll go ahead and go to the link for that. And we can see that we get every accident within the London area. When I created this data set, I went ahead and filtered out already, but we can also draw an area if we like. So maybe I want to look, oops, I could look, let's see, we want to look maybe over here, up to here, etc. But it's a really neat tool. And we can now look into that. And I forget how we last do it. I think you do something like that. And it brings the data in. There's so then we can zoom in, etc. So you can see lots of interesting information. This pretty much just shows you visually. It only shows you the location, and if you hover over, you can see a bit more information about the incident itself. The data set contains all of this information, so the reference number, the date and time, the severity, the casualties, and also the number of casualties and the number of vehicles. So sometimes you'll see the casualties might be both a cyclist and a vehicle or something like that. And the red ones are the ones that are fatal. So hopefully not too many of those. Okay, so let's go ahead and now look at the data set. So I've gone ahead and opened it in Tableau, and we can see we have that accident index that I was talking to you about, the date field, the borough, the ward, etc. So I'm not sure if I'm going to need it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and bring in some shape files for both the borough and the ward. So I'm just going to double click on this to give me a join. And I'm going to connect to a spatial file, and I'll provide you with a link to these spatial files in the notes when I'm done. And I think I want to go here, and let's see, London. I think we have a data set, London shapes, and I want to look at the London boroughs, and I want to make sure I pick the shape file. So it's the .shp. And I'm pretty sure that's the right one. Yep. And when we bring that in, we want to join borough to name. And that should work. Yep. So now on the right-hand side here, we've got this additional field, this called geometry. We also get these extra columns, which we don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those. So the name is the same thing as the borough that we have earlier to the left in the data set, so we don't need that twice. And then I could bring in also the spatial file for the wards, and I have this in the same area. You can get all of these off of the London London data store as well. So London ward. And I should be able to join it by ward name, so that's not going to work. So I want to pick from bicycle collisions, I want to pick, where is it here, ward, and then here I want to go ahead and pick ward, so it's name. And that should work. Yep, so now we get, we also have an additional shape for the ward. So I'm going to hide these fields again. And I'm going to rename the field so I don't get the word geometry mixed up. So I'm just going to call this one borough shape. And I'm going to call this one ward shape. We also have the latitude and longitude, so I'm going to go ahead and create a point. So I'm going to create a calculated field, and I'm going to call this one location. And I'm going to use the make point function. And we pass to that, I believe we pass to that the latitude and then the longitude. So make point, let's see here. So we want to do latitude comma longitude. And that just gives me a spatial file, or sorry, a spatial field. And the reason I want to do that is just because that way I could just double click on that and it gives me all of the points instead of having to drag both latitude and longitude into the view. Okay, so let's go to the sheet. And so here's my location field. So if I just double click on that, I'll get every collision that has been reported. And notice down here on the bottom left that it just says 1 mark. So it says 1 mark because we told it to just draw 1 point. So if we were going to split this up, I would need to maybe bring the accident index field onto detail, and now I'm going to see every individual accident. So now it says 61,046 marks. I think I have a tool on here. I could, what the heck did I call it? A Presentify. I'm going to start this tool up that I think might help with, well, it helps if I remember what the shortcuts are as well. Okay, well, that's not going to work. Anyway, there's a tool I have that, oh, here it is. Yeah, so let me see here. Click on that. So I should be able to do annotate screen. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. Let's close that. I think it's highlight cursor. There we go. So when I hover now, I don't know if is that better for you to see where my mouse is? I'm curious to know if it's better for you to be able to follow my mouse with this kind of red circle around it. But anyway, so down here on the bottom left, we can see there's 61,000 marks. There's 61,000 points in the data set. So maybe we'll leave this map for now. I'm going to change the color. Actually, I'm just going to change the mark type to a circle. And then I'm going to just maybe reduce the size. And then I'm going to also reduce the opacity. Okay, there we go. Basically, you can see kind of a road network of London. It's nothing particularly surprising. Let me reduce that a bit more. Okay, so yeah, so this is just our map. And I could maybe overlay this with the borough shape. So I'm going to bring the borough shape onto it to add it as another layer. And I want that to be behind the dots. So I need to move the location in front. I think that'll do it. Yep. And then on the borough shape, I want to add borough to, I'll add it to color now. I know it's not what we're going to want to do, but I want to be able to show you how the other marks are visible on here as well. So if I go back to my location, let's maybe set the color to black. You can see, you know, now if I have this borough, I can see all of the ones inside of it. I like doing that because now I can go to my map layers, and I can set the washout all the way to 100%. And now I can still see the boroughs, but without the distraction of all of the stuff in the background. So I'm just going to move borough to detail for now. And maybe I'll change the borough color to maybe a light gray. Yeah, maybe something like that. Okay, so all right, so what do we want to do here? We could maybe set this up with a filter. So I'm going to create it with an action so that when I click on a borough, it'll then drill into that borough. So to do that, I'm going to use a, I guess I can use either a set action or a parameter action in this case, but I'm going to use a set action because if I lasso more than one borough, I want it to keep both of them, where a parameter action I can only pass one value to. So on my borough field, I'm going to create a set, and I'll just leave it called borough set, doesn't really matter. Let me see, I'll just pick a couple of them for now. I know Ealing and Hounslow are next to each other, so I'm just going to hit OK. And I want to now create a calculated field, so borough filter, and I'm going to say borough. Let's see. I want to say. I'm going to say borough set, set, or the window count. No, let's see, I want to do the count distinct of borough equals the count distinct of borough. So this second part, what this is saying is give me the total number of boroughs and then how many of them are in the view. So so I probably am going to need to make this a, so I'm getting, okay, so count D is a, so let's make this a window. Gosh, it's been so long since I've done this, I really don't even remember what I'm doing. So window sum, count distinct of borough. And I could just make this, I don't know, I just have to make this some kind of aggregation. And then I cannot mix, okay, so then I want to say, let's see, I want to say max borough set. No, min. Okay, so let's see what happens there. So let's hit OK. I'm just going to drag that onto color for now. And no, let's put it onto the borough shape. Put that on color. And we see we've got 2 of them colored. Okay, and then just for testing purposes, I'm going to show the set. And if I choose all, then let's see. Yeah, they all become true. So down here you see it becomes true. So compute using borough. And again, if I, come on, I'm going to turn this thing off. It's bothering me. Okay, so let me go ahead and deselect. And then, oh, come on. Okay, so something's not right here. So they should all, okay, there we go. So we see some of them become false when we uncheck those boxes. Okay, that's good. So let me hide this. And I'm going to drag that from the color to the filters, and I'm going to set it to be true. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my set action. So worksheet actions, and we're going to make it a change set values. So update borough set. And I'm going to leave this on select in case they want to pick more than one. I'm going to update the borough set. Running the action will assign values to the set. Clearing the action will add all values to the set. Okay, so that's good. So now if I click on a borough, it should filter down to just that one borough. There we go. I click off, and it goes back to all of them. Okay, so I think that's okay for now. And then I want to, let's see. So I need to add one more action here. So when I click on one of these, notice how I can't see the dots. And then when I click off of it, I can now see the dots again. But what I would like it to do is when I click on Hillingdon, for example, I want it to show me the dots as well. So I think this will work, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to create another action, and I'm going to set up a filter action. This is going to be like a dummy. So I'm going to call this a dummy filter. I'm going to go from the map and to the map. Let's see, from the map. No, I want to do it like that. On select, and I want to show all values. And down here in the filter, I just want to set this up so it's always false. So I can say something like accident index equals the URL. So those are never going to be the same. And now when I click on that, okay, so it still didn't work. Okay. Okay, that didn't quite work the way I was hoping it would. Worksheet actions. Let's maybe make it a highlight instead. So highlight or remove highlight. And let's go selected fields. We want to remove it from borough. No, the shape. And I think, okay, so I need to fix something, or we just make it a regular filter instead. Anyway, so that's one way we could look at it. But I also want to look at this over time and kind of see how many accidents we have. So I'm going to bring in the year field, and I'm going to bring in my bike collisions count. That's going to tell me how many accidents in each year. I do believe the data goes through all the months. So let me set this to fit entire view. And it does go through December. Okay, so that's good. So we're looking at complete years of data, so I don't have to worry about any incomplete, accounting for any incomplete years or anything like that. So let's maybe look at this a couple of different ways. So I'm going to drag month onto the detail shelf, and we can see each individual month. And if I'm just going to show the highlighter so we can see what it looks like if we highlight any particular month. So I would expect the summer months are going to be the higher ones, if I had to guess, because more people will be out cycling. Okay, that's all right. So this is collisions by year and month. And let's duplicate that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make it a running total. Okay, so July, June. Okay, that doesn't really tell me a whole lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the year and month fields. I'm going to then right click and choose swap down the bottom here. And that's just going to switch those fields around. And we can see now 2014. So you see all these end in December, but each line represents a year. So let's see. So we can see 2014 was the biggest year. All right, again, nothing particularly compelling to us. Why don't we remove the table calculation? And we see that hump pattern, right? January through December. So this is collisions by month and year. We could also look at this as maybe a cycle plot. Pardon the pun. And so we could put the average line on for each pane. And that kind of shows us the average number of collisions in that month across all years. So this would be our cycle plot. Kind of have to use a cycle plot this week, I think. What does this look like if we make them bars? Okay, that makes it really pretty too hard to see, I think. So yeah, that looks okay. Let's see, what was some other ideas? We could just look at it. Let me duplicate again. We could just look at the totals per month and maybe make those bars. Let's get rid of the reference line. Maybe turn some labels on, and we can see how many accidents there were across the individual months, which isn't particularly surprising. So this would be collisions by month. I'm going to duplicate that, and instead of month, I'm going to use year. Okay, so this would be collisions by year. So it looks like there was an increase, and then it's kind of flattened out. So, but we're also seeing, I bet on a per capita basis that the numbers are actually going down, but we don't know how many cyclists there are in each year in this particular data set. All right, so that's collisions by year, collisions by month. We can maybe look at it as a heat map. So let's put year, and then let's put month here, and bike collisions onto color. And again, not particularly surprising. We can see the summer months are concentrated a lot more than the winter months, and it's kind of getting darker as you go left to right, but not the easiest thing to see. I'm going to maybe, you really shouldn't use a diverging color palette on this, but I'm curious to see what it looks like. So I'm going to reverse the colors, because in this case, I think it makes the higher numbers easier to see. So if I just use a regular color palette, you see it makes them, I don't know, I think they're harder to see with just a regular color palette. Maybe if I put a border on, yeah, I find them a bit harder to see that way. So we could use a red-blue color palette. maybe orange, green, whatever. I'll leave it like that for now. But, oh, hold on one second. Okay, so we've got that. So this is our year, month heat map. We should also probably look at day of the week. So I'm going to duplicate this bar chart again and look at it as weekday. And, you know, during the week makes more sense because there's a lot more commuters. So this would be collisions by weekday. We could maybe look at this cycle plot. Let me duplicate this cycle plot and make this weekday instead. Okay. So cycle plot week, day by month, or by year. So something like that. What if I make this month? I don't think this is going to do anything. Okay, yep. All right, so let me duplicate this, and I'm going to change the month to be a weekday. And again, we see a lot more collisions during the week. So this would be my year weekday heat map. And let's do one more. Let's make this, let's leave that as weekday and make this 1 month. And again, we can see during the week in the summers is the highest. Okay, so this would be month, the weekday heat map. So we've done that. We could look at the wards. Let's put ward onto detail. And we could put the number of collisions onto the color. And we can see a lot of them happen in central London, Regent's Park, St. James, so near the parks, which isn't particularly surprising. So village, okay, so ward, I probably need to have borough on here as well. There we go. It's still giving me borough. Why is it highlighting? Okay, so we see Westminster, St. James's, Regent's Park, etc. Okay, that one's not particularly interesting, so let me get the borough shape on here instead. And we can see which boroughs have the highest. So again, the closer you are to the center of the city, the more likely you are to have a collision, which makes sense. There's also a bike scheme here called bar spikes, so that all kind of makes sense. So this would be collisions by borough. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll look at the boroughs. Oops. Let's look at the boroughs and see which ones had the highest number of collisions. Okay, so we get something like that. Okay. So this just kind of, so what this is doing is just taking this map and turning it into a bar chart. And we have the cycle plot. I wonder what this looks like if I'm just going to filter it down to Westminster. That looks like the one with the highest number. Yeah, the shape stays pretty much the same. Okay, let's make this continuous. What else could we look at? So we've got, this is just the total collisions by borough. What other data do we have here? So number, okay, we haven't looked at casualties, number of vehicles. Okay, so I'm just going to start inspecting some of that data. So severity. Okay, so I'm going to edit the aliases. I just like them to be in uppercase. Okay, and those look like they have a more logical order than that. So I'm going to set the default sort to be a manual sort, and I'm going to have it so fatal at the bottom, slight at the top. And let's just see how many we have there, how many collisions. So most of them are slight, so that's good news. Okay, maybe we can make that a big number then. So let's take severity and move that to text as well. Let's maybe make this a nice big number, maybe make it bold. Okay, let's hide the header, uncheck include in tooltip. Okay, and then if we center these, we now have some nice big numbers. Only 214 fatalities, so that's good. But we could also probably turn each of these into a... Okay, so let's try something here. So this would just be my bands by severity. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this as, let's see, so we've got slight. I want to look at them by maybe quarter. Number of collisions. Okay. And then I want to have a big number in here. Okay, so that's not very useful as quarterly. So let's look at yearly. Let's maybe make it years and make it bars. I'm just trying to get something that looks a bit better. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put a big number in here that is the total number of collisions. So I'm going to write a calculated field, and I'm going to call it total collisions. And I'm going to make this a level of detail expression. So I'm going to do a count distinct on the accident index. Actually, we can make it a count. And hit OK. And if I put that onto the detail pane, detail shelf, and let's center this and make it total collisions. We can see we get 64,947, but that's actually all of these added together. So what we want this to be, we need to add this severity to context. And now we get 467. Okay, so that matches. And let's put severity onto detail. And then let's put that severity into the title. Okay, so let's make this maybe 22 point. Let's make it maybe Tableau medium or semi-bold. And let's make this maybe 11. And we can make these bars maybe, I don't know, a grayish color and get rid of the borders. All right, and then let's label maybe the min and the max. All right. So let's keep it like that. So this is these are my slight. And then if I duplicate that, I'm going to now change my severity to serious. And we get something like that. Let's duplicate again. And let's change it to fatal. And we get something like that. Okay, fatal's going down. That's a good sign. So what I was thinking was we have, these, we've got these three. These are three separate charts. Or we could have one chart or one set of big numbers and then a chart. So let me duplicate this. Let's reset the title. And instead of having severity there, I'm going to move severity here. And now we have the three next to each other. But the patterns are much harder to see, I think. than looking at these. Yeah, so let's delete that. That didn't help. Okay. So let's change this. Let's maybe make this nice and big. I think I'm going to end up going with more of like a report kind of format. All right. All right, and then let's edit the axis, and we'll get rid of the title. And okay. So what we want to do now, we want to make sure the scale on all of these is the same. Actually, I'll do that once we, no, we don't want the scale to be the same. So let's get rid of that. And then let's get rid of this one. Okay. All right. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not, but it's an idea. It may end up just using maybe these big numbers across the idea here is we have the big numbers plus we have the trends. So maybe we do it one way or the other. So that's the severity. The casualties. Okay, so what do we have here? So all of them involve a cyclist. We know that. Let's see. And then let's look at the yes, we know they all involve a cyclist, so let's exclude that. So cyclist pedestrian combination is one. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a calculated field and who involved. I'll have to come up with a better title for this if I end up using it. So I'm going to replace the string casualties, and where I find cyclist, let's see. I want to make it a blank. I think this is still going to cause me a few issues here. See, it's become blank, so we can just exclude those. But now we've got these extra commas. Okay. So that doesn't help. And now here we've got 2 commas. Okay, car occupant, pedestrian. All right, so I'm going to scrap that and delete. Okay, so let's just clear the sheet. So that's not going to really do us any good. So the casualties, I'm going to go ahead and hide that. So this is now telling us the bike collisions, and I wonder what it looks like if we use the number of casualties instead. The number is going to be pretty similar. Yeah, it's just sometimes there's 2 casualties instead of 1, and the number of vehicles is pretty much always going to be 1 or 2. It's always going to, well, it's not always going to be 2. If it's a cyclist and a pedestrian, it'd be 1 vehicle. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if I put, let me show the hidden fields. Again, if I put casualties here and number of vehicles, so let's make this an average. Okay, so this would mean these are 1, because it's more than 1, that means there's more than 1 cyclist involved. But you can see it's usually always around 2, something like that. Okay, so that's not very useful. Number of vehicles, so let's maybe look at the number of casualties against the number of vehicles by borough. I don't know, I'm just making some things up now. Okay, strong correlation, I would expect that. Okay, what else could we look at? We've got the URL, we've got the boroughs. My borough shape, boroughs by, where's my total? Okay. So let's go ahead and clean this map up a bit then. So let's, no map layers. Let's get rid of that, the background. Let's format this and get rid of the row and column dividers. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow the user to just click on a borough, and it's going to filter to that borough. So I think I'm going to use this as almost like a little filter in the corner. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm going to just move the light collisions to the tooltip. We still have each individual borough. I'm going to put borough set on the color. Let's see. So worksheet actions. Change set values. Update borough set. And we want to borough set, and when we clear it, we want to remove all values from the set. So let's see what happens here. So when I click on one, it's going to put that in the set, and it puts everything else out. Okay, so I'm going to now change this so that my ins are black. Let's see. And my outs are white. And then let's put a border, a black border around. Maybe not quite so dark. Something like that. So when I click on one, that one becomes black, the rest become white. I click off of it and it goes back that way. So I want to use my, this is my borough filter field. Okay. That didn't work, so I'm just going to edit that, and I'm going to say borough equals borough set. No. If borough set, then borough end. Where'd that go? Borough filter, let's put that on detail. And then I want to, gosh, I forget how to do some of this stuff. I need to add a change. Let's see. I want to highlight. What I'm trying to get it to do is still show the ones in the background. So I want to click on one. Oh God, how did I do this before? What I wanted to do is kind of de-highlight that how have I done that before? Okay, so clearing the selection will show all values. That's fine. I want to go from to severity. Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted it to do. Then if I click on it again, so now the problem is if I click on it again, it's only ever going to show me the borough that I've selected. Okay. So I think maybe a workaround for that. So worksheet actions. I want to be able to click this again and have it show everything. So let's get rid of that. And it should now go back to like that. Okay, and that resets it. You see what that does. We can get rid of that tooltip. Okay. Okay, so if borough set, then I want to return the borough shape. Let's see what that does now. Okay. And I'm going to make this another layer. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Oops. Nope, wrong one. Right, so that just has that, and I want to color this by... Okay, so now if I click one, but I still, yeah, see it's highlighting on me. All right, we'll come back to that later. Anyway, I'm thinking of this acting like maybe a little filter, but maybe they could just click on it and that's fine. It just highlights that one. Okay. So we've got that. We've got these charts. We've got the map. What else could we look at? We've got the number of casualties, the number of vehicles. So if I swap out, let's put number of casualties. Yeah, see, the numbers are pretty similar, so I'm not really, I'm going to look at maybe just the number of collisions and not necessarily the number of casualties or vehicles involved. Right. Okay, so let's, I'm thinking of a dashboard where we have maybe these three going across. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we're not going to use any of these. And if we split this up by severity, what does that look like? Yeah, so that's not surprising. They're all going to follow the same pattern most likely. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to start building something and kind of see what comes out here. So I'm going to bring in a vertical container. I don't really have anything in my head yet of what I want to build. And let's make this 1,800. And let's make the inner padding, let's leave it as 0 for now. I'm going to bring in a text box. So this would be and this probably won't be my final title, but I'll leave it like that for now. Okay, let's bring in a, let's edit the height of this. Let's maybe make it a bit taller. Okay, bring in a blank. Oops. And I'm going to now layout. Let's set this to 0. And the background to the same color black. Okay, so now we've got a nice little divider. On this one, I'm going to set my padding to maybe 10. Let's see what that did. So now I can edit the height and maybe get 60 again. Okay, I did that just to bring the text in a bit. So I'm going to bring a blank in here just to act as a placeholder, and I'll color that just so we know where it is. Just makes it easier to drop other fields into the view. So let's bring a regular container in now, and I'm going to bring in these 3 sheets next to each other. Okay, now these numbers are way too big, so let's maybe make this maybe 20, now probably even like 18, and let's make it Tableau light bold. Okay, yeah, like that. So let's make this 18, Tableau light bold, and 18, Tableau light bold. Okay, so now we have all of those together. Maybe instead of, okay, so this container, so let's see here, we want to maybe put in, let's set the outer padding to 0. We'll do that for all of them. And I'm going to also make them all distribute evenly. And then I'm going to add some inner padding of maybe 10, maybe 20 on each of them. Okay. If I make this continuous, what is it going to do? So it's going to bring all of the bars right next to each other, which doesn't look great. Yeah, what does that look like now? Let's see. Yeah, they're still right next to each other, so that doesn't work. Okay, but what if I make it a line? I just want to compare how this line looks versus the others. Okay, maybe the line is the better choice. And let's make that a line. And let's make this one a line. And we've got our labels on there. Now, I know the axes are different. Okay, let's maybe change this back to be continuous. Oops. Okay. So the problem we have now is that these are different scales. This is by year. This is 2005. Okay. So what I don't like is how these are all. So what I could do is, let me edit the height of this. Let's maybe make it 350. And then I could hide the headers. And then what if I hide these headers as well? No, let's not do that. I want to go ahead and choose the untick the include 0 option. And now if I hide the headers, and let's get rid of the grid lines and the 0 line, and then also the axis rulers. So that's the slide sheet. Let's copy the formatting, and I can only do it one sheet at a time. Paste formatting, paste formatting. Just a quick way to do that. Okay. Let's maybe edit the height again. Let's make it maybe 250. I'm going to shrink them up a bit. Okay. And so the slide, let's put the label above. Does that do anything? Okay, so that didn't give us any more room. I don't like how this is overlapping. Oh, I know what I could do. I could, instead of having them go across, I'm going to have them go down, because to go across, I'm naturally comparing the scales. But if I have them go down, then it shouldn't do that. So let me go and bring in a vertical container. I'm going to move this. Okay, so let's see, how do I want to do this in the dashboard? Let's drag that into there. Bring that below it, and then that below it. So now they're going to be kind of side by side. And I need to bring in a horizontal container. Put that in there. And then put this one inside of that. Okay. And then let's distribute contents evenly. Edit width. Let's make this maybe, what width is, so let's maybe make it 250. Okay, maybe a bit wider, 300. Okay. What I don't like now is that this is overlapping. So I think what I could do is I'm going to create a calculated field. So this is my window max. And I'm going to do the window max of the bike collisions. And I'm going to multiply that by 1.1. Drag that onto detail. And table across is fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this on as a reference line. So table, and I'm going to make it my window max. I'm going to get rid of the label, get rid of the tooltip, get rid of the line. Okay. And so now what I've done is I've kind of created a buffer here. So if I go to my dashboard, I can now see that 4009. So maybe I should do that for the minimum as well. Window max, let's duplicate. Let's call this one window min. And window min. And I'm going to multiply the minimum times maybe 0.9. Let's drag that into the view. And now I'm going to edit my reference line, and I'm going to switch it to a reference band to go from the minimum, no label, no tooltip, to the maximum. No label, no tooltip, no fill, untick the recalculate. We could manually edit the upper axis, that's right, Masid, but the problem is if we start filtering, then, so if we filter down to a specific borough, then that axis will not update dynamically, where this method it will update dynamically. Okay, so I'm going to now delete these other two sheets because I don't want to have to redo all of that. So let's do slight. Let's delete these. Let's make this one serious. And let's duplicate. Okay. Oh, I should probably save. Okay. All right. So we'll bring in the serious and the fatal. Okay, there we go. But you see now we've got these little axes here, and it gives our labels enough room to breathe. Okay, so in this, so that is, so let's set some inner padding here. Okay, that's good. So now I need to decide what I want to do with the rest of the space. So what I was thinking was, oh, what happened to my, oh, my line moved down the bottom. Okay, let's see. So if I put this one in here, okay, so that breaks that up nicely. So, but I'm going to choose it and I'm going to remove the top and bottom so it extends the width of the dashboard, and maybe I'll make the left and the right both 10. Okay, so I'm just kind of framing the visualization a bit. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and put a text box in the bottom. And let's make it 8, and let's say data source is, what's the name of the data source again? It is cycle streets. Created by. Okay, and then for this, I'm going to maybe need some padding, so let's make it 10 all the way around. Okay, something like that. So what I was thinking I wanted to do is I'm going to bring in another horizontal container here, and I'm going to move that inside of it. And where is my map? Collisions by borough. Okay, so collisions by borough. Okay, so let's hide the title. Let's leave it there. Layout, tiled, remove from dashboard. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to, let's make this edit width. Let's make this maybe 200. I'm just trying to make it really small. Okay, that's good. And then let's edit the height of this. Let's maybe make it 150. Okay. Probably could even shrink it up a bit more. Edit height. Okay, that's too much. Yeah, let's make it 150 again. So the idea here was to take this worksheet action, and I'm going to change this to be a dashboard action. So when they click on a when they click on one of these, it doesn't do anything, and that's because I need to now go to each of these sheets. Oh no, we need it to work. I need to put the let's see. Okay. Actually, I don't think I even need the set action here. Worksheet, dashboard actions. I don't even need the set. I could just add it as just a regular filter action. And show all values. Filter borough. Okay. Now if I click on, oh, I didn't mean to do it that way. Dashboard, actions. I meant it to be on select. Okay, so they click on one. Okay. All right. But on this one, I want to, okay, so let's go back here. I still wanted to highlight the one that I had there, so I need to map options. Dashboard actions, change set values, update borough set, select borough set, remove all values from set. Okay. Okay, so that looks like it's working. It's highlighting it and everything like I want. What I don't like then is how my big numbers aren't changing. So notice when I choose a different borough, the big numbers don't change. So what I need to do is on each of these sheets, I need to add this action to context, because I need the action to filter before my level of detail expression is calculated. Okay, so now if I select a borough, yeah, okay, there we go. Something like that. Okay, so what I could do, I've got lots of extra room in here now, which I don't necessarily like, but and these look like they run right together. So what is the layout on this? It's 20. Okay, maybe that's okay. All right, so we've got that. We then had our heat map. So what if we bring our heat map into here, year, month, heat map. Okay, so let's hide the field. And so that's this one. So let's change the colors to be, what do we use here? I think we could just use a white to black. Okay, what's that look like? Okay, so let's remove that. Notice here on the upper left, I've got something in the background there. That's just the color legend, so let's remove that from the dashboard. Okay, so I don't like how my borough thing is working here, so I think I'm going to kill that. Yeah, that's not really working the way that I would like. That also should have removed the action, which it did. No, it didn't, so let's remove that. Okay. And then this is in a container, which I don't want it to be in a container anymore. So let's stick it there. And maybe what I can do now is maybe add a couple of filters on here. What could I filter by? Well, really, the only thing I could filter by is borough. Any other severity, borough, casualties, borough shape. Okay, so let's bring. I want them to be in uppercase. So let's add that as a filter. I'll just select all for now. And I need to apply that to, so let's add that to context. And then I want to apply to, that's okay. Let me bring it into the dashboard first. So serious. And let's filters borough. But again, notice how Tableau put this in the background, inside of one of these stupid tiled containers. So let me find it. And let's make it floating for now. floating, and then I can get rid of this tiled container. Okay, so actually now I need to add this horizontal container back in that I got rid of before. I'm going to put that back in there. And then I'm going to change this filter to be a multiple value list. I'm going to customize it to show the apply button and get rid of that. Get rid of the control types. Okay, so now I'm going to hold the shift key down and put it in that container. Okay, so what's the longest one here? Okay, so you see it doesn't fit. You can't read the whole name, so I'm going to edit the width of this. Try to. And let's make it maybe 225. Yeah, probably could just be 200. Okay, yeah, something like that. And then let's make this container maybe 75. And then this one I'm going to add some padding at the top, some padding around it. So the right padding, let's make it maybe 10, 15. I need to add some at the top. I'm just trying to get it centered into this box. Okay, there we go, something like that. Okay, so now this filter, so apply to selected worksheets, and I'm going to just choose all of these sheets. Okay, but are my numbers updating? So let's go to one of these sheets. Yeah, and because that's in context, they're all updating as I would expect. Okay, so I'm going to now, we'll save. And come on. I'm going to kill the phone version, and I'm going to make the whole thing smaller. Okay. Okay, maybe that doesn't work. Okay, do we need this? Let's kill that and see how it looks. Yeah, I think it looks a little bit neater with it. Okay. What I don't like is how this sheet here butts right up against the top. So I need to maybe put in, let's try 20 here as well. Okay, that's good. And then let's format the sheet. And let's get rid of the row and column dividers. Okay, there are no column dividers, so that's fine. All right, and let's format. I'm going to make these maybe a lighter color. Let's make them Tableau light. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to format the workbook and make the whole workbook Tableau light. Okay, and then let's format, and let's make the size of them maybe 8, even 7. And then this one, let's make it 7. Hello, Maggie. Okay. Not sure about your screen, but it looks really terrible on mine. Let me make this 8. It looks really, really blurry. Let me switch this one back to 8. All right. Anything else? So let me make this a bit wider again. What I could have done was maybe just have, instead of having it all of these line charts, I wonder if it would have been better to have, we have this original, where is this original chart? The map, the collisions. Collisions by year. I'm thinking there might be a better way we could have done this. Okay, so by severity. So what I'm thinking now is I don't really like this. So I'm going to undo that. I think I'm going to keep one of them, but I'm going to get rid of severity. I'm going to take severity off the detail. So now it's just the, let's see, so let's reset the title. Okay. So we can get rid of this one. We can get rid of this one. And I'm going to bring in those numbers. Fit entire view. And then edit height. Let's maybe make it 75. That's fine. Let's format the borders. Okay, now I know it's not wide enough, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the width of this. Let's maybe make it 400. Okay, so now we've got that. And maybe what I'll do is I'll move my, see, look at that, it changed that. Just leave it like that, that's fine. If I put my filters over here, and then I could have a severity filter. So okay, let's filters severity, and that stuck it in this container automatically, which is nice. Let's make it a multiple value list. Oops. Okay. Now we can maybe make the whole thing shorter. And I could put maybe a divider line in here to split these up. So let's edit the height. Let's make it 10. Set the background to be black. I'm just trying to separate the filters from the rest of the view. Okay, but maybe these should be next to each other. So let's put a horizontal container in here and move both of those. Oops. I'm going to put these next to each other in this container. Okay. Okay, so now in this container, I'm going to add in okay, something like that. Okay. So now, oops, didn't want to do that. So I'm going to fix the height of that and fix the height of that. So do we need these reference lines anymore? Okay, what if we make them, switch them back to bars and make this discrete? Okay. If I make them bars, then I can get rid of this reference line, this thing here. No, wrong one. Okay, so what I'll do is let's see. So I want to say so I'm going to color code the biggest one and the smallest one. So I'm going to say if window max of the bike collisions is equal to the count of bike decisions, then max. Else if and so I don't need these anymore. I don't need that. Put the maximum on color. And let's see, so we want the maximum to be maybe a red. Want the minimum to be maybe, let's set the nulls to be maybe a black color. Let's set the max to be, let's pick a better red. Something like that. Okay, so let's see what that looks like now. So now we can highlight the highs and the lows. So should we do that same thing then over here? So if I go to this sheet, should this now be a diverging color palette? So blue to red, let's hit apply. What does that look like? No, don't like that. Okay, so on this one, I want to get rid of the padding. Nope. And then actually this one, I want it to be a bit more off the right. So, and then this container, let's have it as a bit more off the left. Okay, there we go. And then this container, let's edit the height. Let's make it maybe 70. And then I want to move them down toward the bottom. Oops. Okay, I think I'm going to call it quits there. So let me go back here again. I'm going to choose this color because I think this is more like a navy color. So let me copy that. And I'm going to go to this sheet. And I'm going to make that my upper color. Well, that looks pretty terrible. Oh, that's awful. So maybe what I should do is, instead of using that color, let's make this just pure black. Okay, something like that. So this is, each of these is a year. Okay, so now I've got a bit of cleanup to do. And I want to take that out of the tooltip. So we got year, count of bike collisions, tooltip. Okay. And we need to go to, I guess we ended up not using these. This would be my, okay, so those don't have anything. What else did we use? Year month heat map. So let's go over this tooltip. Insert the month. Okay, so that's good. Do we have any other sheets we need to update? I don't think so. Okay, so let's switch this back to all. And if I change my severity to slight, okay, so you see it's only updating the one sheet. So I need to edit the filter, customize, so apply to worksheets. I want to apply to everything in this dashboard. Okay, there we go. Right. All right, so now if you'll notice when I pick maybe just, you see I pick them all and everything moves. So what I need to do is I need to fix the height of that. I also need to fix the height of this sheet. I did. Okay. And let's fix the height of that container. Okay, so now if I choose something, yeah, nothing moves around. But maybe this, my filters, so what would this look like? Oops. If I move my filters up above the numbers. Let's see, so let's get rid of the top. And then now maybe I'll put a line in there. Okay. Okay, so that. Okay. Let's see here. What's that one? Shoot. All I'm trying to do now is get the layout to look a bit better. Let's make this maybe 10. Nope. I need to add padding. Outer padding though, so 10 top, maybe 10 bottom. And then this one, I want to have 0. Okay, and then let's put maybe 10 to the right. Oops. Okay, that's fine. And then this sheet, I want to maybe set some, maybe 10 pixels of inner padding. Okay, I probably should now show the years on here. Okay, because I think if I show the header, it's probably now, yeah, they're all going to rotate. Sugar. Okay, which I don't like. And if I make it continuous, then the bars get messed up. So size, okay. I don't even, they changed the way that these bars work. So maybe, what if I put in 1,000? I don't have any idea what I'm putting in here. Okay. All right, so let's go back. Where is that? Now if we show the header, basically now they're off center. Alignment. But why doesn't it let me choose the alignment manual? Every 5 years makes a bit more sense. Show times. Okay, how's that? So let's now format that. Let's set it to 8. Could you change the heat map access to month, month, month? Yeah, I could. Yeah, so if I format this to the abbreviation, the only issue with that is it now shows up in the tooltip as well, but maybe that's okay. Yes, that looks better. This, what is going on here? Let's reset the height of that. So that lines those on. Now let's leave that. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it there. This is really ugly. I don't like. Yeah, this we need to get rid of that. And we need to add in some padding at the top. Let's see, all sides equal. Let's make it 70. Okay, there we go, something like that. So now we can filter. Let's say we want to look at, so I live in Hounslow. We can see there, okay, but now notice these numbers didn't change. So I need to go to this sheet and I need to make sure that's added to context. And then if I change the severity, then the severity needs to be added to context. Okay, so that is added to context of the borough, sorry. So apply to worksheets, all on the dashboard. And that's in context as well. Okay, great. So in Hounslow, in this data set, there were that many accidents. If I look in what is the name of the okay, let's just choose all for now. The only thing that I think could be improved here is to have some kind of map to let people know which borough has been selected, so you kind of know where it is geographically. But oh, I forgot to hit apply. Okay, there we go. Maybe I'll get rid of the apply button. Customize. All right, I'm going to call it quits there. I hope you found it useful. I do like the I like how this turned out. I like the kind of black and the black theme. Actually, I think one thing I'm going to change here is I'm going to label only the maximum, and then my max min calculation, I'm just going to get rid of the min. So then I only want to show the red one. So label and then match mark color, something like that. Okay, there we go. I think that's a bit better. Okay, so thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Sorry I was a bit late, but yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next week. Bye.